Dmitry Bivol is an elite level champion with a boxing style so unique yet so effective, and he honestly makes beating the absolute shit out of his opponents look so easy. He displays a high fighting IQ and always has a solid game plan in all of his fights, making it look like he's always 3 to 4 steps ahead of his opponents. Bivol took up boxing at the age of only 6 years old and has now got a pro record of 21 wins and no losses, as well as an amateur record of 268 wins and only 15 losses. He definitely goes down as one of my favorite boxers of all time, and in this video, I want to explain to y'all in detail what makes him so good. Bivol has a unique and effective way of creating rhythm, as well as break his opponent's rhythm. The main way he gains his rhythm is by constantly changing the pace of the fight. This means that he would spend a bit of time during rounds fighting at a slow pace, and then suddenly accelerating the pace of the fight with bursts of explosive combinations, and he would do this over and over again throughout the whole fight. This strategy keeps his opponents second guessing as to what's coming to them and breaks their rhythm, which in turn creates Bivol's rhythm. I also notice when he's doing his flurry of attacks, he often pretends like he's backing off to make his opponent believe they're safe, but then after backing off for a second, he immediately comes back to attack. This further breaks his opponent's rhythm by not letting them have time to reset, and also prevents them from recovering from his initial attacks. He also creates rhythm through his feints and constant jabs to apply mental pressure on his opponent and disrupt anything that they want to do. He controls his distance by using his footwork and lead hand. If you've seen any of his fights, you'd see that he does extremely well at stepping in and out of range quickly. This is often referred to as the pendulum step. The pendulum step is often used in the Soviet boxing style, typically in the amateurs. Bivol sort of has his own version of the style where he also incorporates the American style, specifically in his footwork and ring movement. He once said in an interview that he used to love watching Roy Jones Jr. and Sugar Ray Leonard growing up and would utilize some of their weapons into his own game. Now, the reason why he does the pendulum step so effectively is due to his stance and equal weight distribution in both legs. The pendulum step grants him the ability to throw jabs from a long range, like he's leaping forward with a jab. Another tool he uses to keep his distance is his lead hand. He uses a variety of jabs, feints, and framing to keep his distance. Along with being able to fight extremely well on the outside, these tools make him even more difficult for his opponents to figure out. He's beaten opponents such as Zurdo Ramirez, Craig Richards, and Umar Salimov fighting on the outside. Keep in mind that these guys are about 3 inches taller than Bivol and have a reach advantage. He literally beat these high-level fighters at their own game. To set up attacks, Bivol usually starts off by using lead hand variations such as jabs to the head, body, and mixing up the amount of power he throws them. Once he gets his opponent's attention on the lead hand attacks, he will then mix up his attacks even more. He often likes to feint the jab into a left hook, as seen here. Other examples is how he jabs into the body and into an overhand right. And here, he fakes a right hand into a left hook. So he uses footwork as a main way of defending. Most of the time, he simply just moves out of range from the punch. However, there's also times where he combines this with a high guard, and rather than completely moving out of range, he would absorb the punch whilst moving away in the same direction that the punch is landing. This nullifies the impact of the punch. Another great fighter that implements this technique is Naoya Inoue, which I talked about in my previous video. He also often utilizes lateral movement to disengage and establishes the center of the ring. This also further gives him the control of the fight. As seen from the Canelo fight, every time he gets pinned to the ropes, he always manages to utilize his lateral movement and get back to the center of the ring. This also showcases his ring generalship. Along with his footwork, he also defends using his arms and head movement. Whenever he uses these tools to defend, it often transitions into counterattacks, which is another underrated weapon of his. He uses his high guard as a way to instantly transition into offense. This is known as to catch and counter. The moment he feels the impact on his arm, he will then attack from the same side because he knows that there's an opening on that side. These are clips where he parries the punches and counters them with his own. He also does a good job of slipping and countering. I feel like he was really able to display this in his fight against Craig Richards. He also often does step back counters too. The last reason why Bivol has so much success in the ring is his discipline. He displays discipline through his emotional control and his ability to stick to a game plan. Rarely do you ever see him taunt, get emotional, or lose courage during his fights because he believes in his game plan and doesn't let any emotions dictate his decisions. An example is when he got hit clean by John Pascal's right hand and still kept his composure and fought back like nothing happened. You can even see the confused and frustrated look on John Pascal's face after that. Despite some people considering his style of fighting boring, I personally find him fun to watch, especially when seeing how calm he looks while he's completely dismantling his opponents and getting them more and more frustrated. What do you guys think? Comment down below and let me know what fighter you want me to talk about next time. And also make sure to like and subscribe if you want to support the channel. And that's going to be it for the video. Peace.